वरं वरेण्यं पुरुषं महान्तं श्रीनारायणं त्वं शिरसा नमामि। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्याय नाम्ने गौरपुरुषे नमः। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधा कान्त नमस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी श्रीराधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। सब बोलिए हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। So first of all, I offer my unlimited obeisances unto the divine lotus feet of my most worshipable spiritual master, His Divine Grace Shri Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. My unlimited obeisances unto the divine lotus feet of our Rupanuga Guru Varga, and my humble obeisances to all the assembled devotees. Especially Akshay Prabhuji, welcome back to Houston after visit to many holy places in Bharat Bhumi. So, as you know, we are studying Srimad Bhagavatam. And by this time, I think everyone knows what is the difference between Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. Right? Sanjana, you can tell what's the difference between Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita? Renudini, can you close the door, please? Okay, say it louder. Difference between Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam.
One is more condensed and it's to help those who are beginners gain more spiritual knowledge. And then the other one is more in-depth and it's for more experienced ones.
Yes, that's true. One is a condensed version. Bhagavad Gita is the condensed version. Bhagavatam is much more elaborate, that's correct. But in terms of background, Gita is the one which is the condensed version. It is a dialogue between Krishna and Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Whereas Bhagavatam describes about many devotees of Krishna and his various incarnations. So many of the points that Krishna mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, how does one actually follow them in their life? How does one practice devotional service? All of this is explained in Srimad Bhagavatam. So Srimad Bhagavatam is the bigger scripture. So Bhagavatam is considered the essence or the conclusion of all the scriptures, because Maharshi Vedvyas, who wrote all the Vedic literature, the last scripture that he wrote was Srimad Bhagavatam. So for anything that when we have to prove something, right, we need evidence. Right? So for something that has to be proven, we need evidence. So who is the Supreme Lord? What is His name? And what are His attributes? So this is something, if we have to understand, then what is the evidence? The evidence is the Vedic scriptures. And in Vedic scriptures, many things are defined. But the conclusion of all of that is Srimad Bhagavatam. So that's why nowadays we are reading Srimad Bhagavatam, because understanding Bhagavatam is so important for us to practice bhakti properly. So we are on the first canto. Srimad Bhagavatam has 12 cantos. So we finished the second canto as first canto chapter 2. And because it is so huge, it is impossible to go verse by verse. So we are just going to take summary of each chapter and just cover some very important verses. So this third chapter is called Krishna is the source of all incarnations. What is it called? Krishna is the source of all incarnations. And this is a question sometimes come, right? Especially most of people here from India, and they will say, "Oh Prabhuji, because you like Krishna, so you say Krishna is the source of all incarnations." But in West India there's something else, South India there's something else, North India there's something else, East some places, everyone says something different. How do we believe what is true? It's a very good question, right? It's a very good question. So the answer is that we have to go by the evidence. I can say anything I want, you can say anything you want, he can say anything he wants. But ultimately, if there was some sort of confusion about something, or some decision had to be made, and everyone goes to the judge in the court, how will the judge make a decision? Not based on what he wants. He may like one party versus the other party, right? But he has to keep his emotions outside, and he has to make the judgment based on what? Based on evidence, and the judgment he has to pass based on the code, right? So every country has a code of law. So he has to go by that based on this evidence, this is what is proven, and therefore this is my judgment. He can't just, so whenever you read the judgment of any judge, he quotes many statutes from the book of law, that based on this is how this punishment or whatever has been determined, right? So similarly, the evidence is Srimad Bhagavatam. Now we can also say, why Bhagavatam? There are so many Puranas, there are so many other scriptures, why are you taking Bhagavatam? So the answer is that all of these were written by one person, Maharshi Vedavyasa. And after writing everything upon the instruction of his guru, who was Narad Rishi, he said, now I have to write what I was supposed to write. I wrote a lot of things, but there was a reason behind it. We don't have time, but the reason is because people have so many different moods, people have so many different inclinations. So bring everyone slowly to the right path. He gave many different paths. Right? He gave it, and that's the beauty of Sanatana Dharma. He described many paths. But he said, at the same time, I also have to describe what is the ultimate path, what all this leads to, right? Because not every path can, because if there is destination is one, everything has to come to that one particular point, right? So all of you came to this temple from many different directions. I came from Sugar Land, someone came from Cyprus, someone came from north part of Houston. You all took different roads. But to enter into this temple, there was only one place. You can't say, because I came from Sugar Land, I will drop from the sky. No, you can't say that. Or I came from Cyprus, so I'll take a different way to enter inside the temple. No, you can't. There is only one road that comes inside. So that's why Srimad Bhagavatam is the conclusion. So this one, he is explaining a very important part, that why Krishna is the source of all incarnations. So I'm just going to discuss, this chapter has about 45 verses. I'm going to give a very brief summary of what Shukadeva Goswami, or in this case Suta Goswami, is describing. So in the very first verse, he says, Jagrehi Paurasham Rupam Bhagwan Mahat Adivihi Sambhutam Shodash Kalam Ado Lok Shish Prashaya. So Krishna's Prabhu, you want to read the translation? Loudly.
Yeah, in the beginning of the creation, the Lord first expanded himself in the universal form of the Purusha incarnation and manifested all the ingredients for the material creation. And thus, at first, there was creation of the 16 principles of material action. This was for the purpose of creating the material universe.
So in this chapter he is describing that how everything is coming from one source. And who is that one source? He will also describe. So he's saying that two different things. One is the creator, and one are those ingredients with which you do the creation. Right? So for example, I'm sitting on a chair. So let's say if I was building it myself, so I'm the creator. So to build this, I needed some wood, I needed some nails, I needed some cloth, I needed some foam. So putting it all together, those are the ingredients. And this is my creation. So there's a creator, you need the ingredients to do the creation, and then what is created. So here he's saying that at the beginning of creation, the Lord himself, meaning the Lord is someone different, but himself, for the purpose of creation, what he did, he expanded himself into the Purush incarnation. There are many different categories of incarnation. And here he first manifested, there are 3 Purush incarnations which we will study. And he also manifested not only the creator, that personality that will create, but he also manifested all the ingredients for creation. So you're getting the point. So he's in the very first verse, distinguishing between the Lord, who actually is the creator. So this Lord, he is not naming who that person is, but he is the supreme creator. But then he created another creator for the sake of creating this universe, right? And for these universes, and he also provided all the ingredients. So let's understand this. So who is the first one? Who did the Lord first create? So you see in this picture, you see on the top, this is, my cursor is moving, you see on the top, this is Karano Dashai Vishnu, or he is also known as Mahavishnu. Mahavishnu or Karano Dashai Vishnu. So Karan means the cause. So he is the cause of the material creation, and he is lying in the causal ocean. So this Mahavishnu is the first Purush incarnation. He's called Karano Dashai Vishnu. You can see he's the origin generating the universe. And when he breathes, so when you are in the water and when you breathe, what happens? Bubbles are formed. When he is breathing, he's not just breathing from his nostrils. Every pore of his body, it is breathing. So when that air comes out, what happens? Each one of them, that bubble is actually a universe. So there it is a universe. Each one of them is a universe. So we live in one universe. There are many, many universes like this. And even today science also believes that there is not just one universe, but there are many, many universes. In each universe, then he expands himself. So this is the first Purush. Then the second Purush is the one who comes out of Karana Dashai Vishnu, and he is called Garbho Dakshai Vishnu. You see here in the center, who is called Garbho Dakshai Vishnu. So from Garbho Dakshai Vishnu, so in each universe there is a separate Garbho Dakshai Vishnu. So there is not just one Vishnu, there are many, many Vishnus. So in each universe there is one Garbho Dakshai Vishnu. Why is he called Garbhodak? Because Garbha means the navel. From his navel, one lotus flower appears. And on that lotus flower, Lord Brahma is born. So that means in every universe, this happens. And Brahma is the one who actually creates within that universe. He's the one who creates within that universe. That's why when we think of Trinity of Godhead, right, we say Brahma is the creator, Vishnu is the maintainer, and Rudra is the destroyer. But that is only for one universe. Okay, so when we are saying Vishnu, it is referring to many, many Vishnus. So in this universe, we have our Brahma who has 4 heads. He happens to be the smallest of all Brahmas. And other universes are much bigger. Their Brahmas have many, many heads. So like this, so Garbho Dakshai Vishnu manifests, and then from Garbho Dakshai Vishnu, then Brahma with all the ingredients that are provided. So Garbho Dakshai Vishnu empowers Brahma to then do the creation. And what happens? All these different types of living entities are created. Animals, plants, insects, birds, humans, so much creation takes place. And in each and every one of this, he again goes in form of a third Vishnu, which is called Kshirodashai Vishnu. What is it called? Kshirodashai Vishnu. So this Vishnu is also called as Paramatma, or the Super Soul. So now, what are those 16 ingredients? He says there are many ingredients. So these 16 ingredients are, if you see on this picture at the bottom right hand side, this is called Mahat Tattva. Mahat Tattva. All the ingredients. These are 16 ingredients. 5 working senses, 5 knowledge acquiring senses, 5 Panch Mahabhut, 5 material ingredients: earth, water, fire, air and ether. So this then ether, and so this is 5 these ingredients, and then finally the mind. So 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 1, that makes it 16. So this is called the Mahat Tattva. So this part, as you can see on the top right hand side, it's a little bit of a dark cloud, right? So the part of the entire creation, which is covered by Mahat Tattva, that is called the material existence. So we are all in this material existence, in which Mahavishnu is lying, and from him all these Vishnus are getting created. Outside of all of this, there is a spiritual sky. So there is a spiritual sky, just like there is this material existence, similarly there is a spiritual existence. And that spiritual world is much bigger than material creation. Now I've described all of this in 5 minutes, but I don't know, did anyone understand how big the creation is? Were you able to fathom it?
Also, he goes in every atom.
Yeah. Are you able to even, I think it's beyond even our conception, right? We get so enchanted by seeing a huge palace of a king, right? Wow, so many rooms, such a huge palace, so enchanted, right? But nothing, once you start comparing with how immense the creation of the Lord is, how immense the creation, everything we have, even if someone owned the entire earth, many kings have happened in the past whose aspiration was to become the ruler of the entire earth. But even if you were the ruler of the entire earth, even according to the material science, earth is not even equivalent to one grain of sand. You know, they say in this universe there's so many stars that if you fill up a Olympic-sized swimming pool with sand, okay, just imagine. I recently saw an Olympic-sized swimming pool. We see swimming pools in the gym and in the schools and these places, right? But a real Olympic-sized swimming pool, if you fill it with sand, and just imagine how many grains of sand will be there. And this is an example that is given by scientists. That many stars, and our sun is one star. That many stars are there in the universe. So that's how, now can you imagine? And that's just one universe. Ours is the smallest of all the universes because our Brahmaji has only 4 heads. There are many more universes. So we have to understand that how insignificant we are. We should always remember this because this will keep us very humble. We become sometimes very arrogant. Oh, I have so much. I have a big house. I have 10 cars. I have a big temple. I have a big office. We become very proud of these things. Brahma also became very proud actually, 4-headed Brahma. But when he saw and he went to the Dharma Sabha of Krsna, and he saw that he was the smallest of Brahmas and there were Brahmas who were coming much bigger than him, then he became very humble. So this is something we should always remember because to make any tangible progress in bhakti, humility is the first thing. Unless we develop some humility, some genuine humility, then Krishna does not reveal himself. He is not known through reading books or through all of the intelligence, but he is understood through devotion. And the first principle of bhakti is then humility. So, understanding how immense the creation is. So now, later on, I'm describing all of this. This is many verses in this chapter. Just to make it easy, I'm describing it through these pictures. So now what happens in the material universe, there is Garbhodakshay Vishnu. Right? So Garbhodakshay Vishnu is the source of everything that manifests within that universe. So whether there is Brahma or Rudra, Vayu, Chandra, Surya, so many demigods, all of them are coming from whom? From Garbhodakshay Vishnu. Okay? So remember this is written in Bhagavatam. These are verses which clearly say that all humans, all the creation, every aspect of the creation is manifested from Garbhodakshay Vishnu. And where did Garbhodakshay Vishnu come from? From Mahavishnu. He came from Mahavishnu. And where did Mahavishnu come from? He will explain. Because he started by saying the Lord manifests as a Purush incarnation. So, now all of these different incarnations are, they appear. So these are different within the universe. Many demigods, humans, immense. And here he says that Garbhodakshay Vishnu, he is the indestructible seed of all incarnations. Okay, within this universe. So then, in the next verse, starting from verse number 6 of this particular chapter, all the way up to verse 27, it describes many different incarnations. It describes first the 4 Kumaras, the four Sanat Kumaras. They were the first incarnation. Then it describes Kurma, Varaha, Matsya, Yajna, so many different incarnations it is described. And this is a picture. Here it shows, if you can see, starting from the top, left hand side, the 4 Kumaras, then the Varaha who pulled the earth out from the ocean, then Narad Rishi, Narayan Rishi, Lord Kapila, Lord Hayagriva, Lord Kurma, Lord Dhanvantari, who gave all the different herbs and medicines. Then in Mohini Roop, he came and enchanted the demons and took all the nectar from them and gave it to the demigods. And then, like this, Dattatreya, Yajna, all of this. And then finally, it says that Lord Buddha will appear, because this was written before Lord Buddha appeared. So this Bhagavatam was written about 5,000 years ago, during Sri Krishna's appearance in this world. So it says that after this, Buddha will appear and Gaya. And then it says after that, Kalki will appear. So like this, in about 21, 22 different verses, it describes many incarnations of the Lord. And then what it says, in the verse 28 it says, Ete cha ansh kalaha punsa Krishnastu Bhagwan Swayam Indrari Vyakulam Lokam Hridayanti Yuge Yuge. So now it is saying, it has described what started with Mahavishnu, Garbhodakshay Vishnu, Kshirodashay Vishnu, many demigods, many types of creatures, many incarnations. And then he says, Ete cha anshkalaha pulsa Krishnastu Bhagwan Swayam. That everything that I have been describing, all of this, Ete means these, cha anshkalaha. So means that these are portions of the plenary portions of the portions of the Punsaha, the Supreme Lord Krishnastu Bhagwan Swayam. He says that Krishna, he is Swayam Bhagwan. So before this, everyone is called the Lord. Lord Vishnu, Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, Lord Mahavir, Lord Narayan, Lord Kapila. All of them are lords. But when he says, but all of them come from one, that supreme, he says Krishnastu Bhagwan Swayam. So the word used for Krishna is says Swayam Bhagwan. That he is the God himself. He does not derive his powers or divinity from anyone else. Garbhodakshay Vishnu derives himself from Mahavishnu. Mahavishnu from Mool Sankarshan. Like this, if you go, we discussed very briefly. But if it keeps going, then the final personality from whom everything manifests and who has no origin, that is Krishna. Ishvara Paramah Krishna Satchit Anand Vigraha Anadi Radhi Govinda Sarva Karanam. Lord Brahma also prays in Brahma Samhita that Krishna is Param Ishwar Satchit Anand Vigraha Anadi Adi Govinda. He is Adi. Anadi means he has no origin. Anadi Adi Govinda Sarva Karanam. He is the cause of all causes. So nothing in this world exists without the power of the Lord. And Krishna declares himself in Bhagavad Gita. Lord Ram never said that. None of the other forms, they never made this statement what Krishna makes in Bhagavad Gita. Aham sarvasya prabhavo mattah sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhav samanditaha. He says, I am the creator and everything manifests from me. Those who understand this worship me with love and devotion. So the point you have to understand is that there is only one God. There are not many gods. So it is futile to fight on this issue, right? Because there cannot be many gods, right? Will you agree? If there were 2 presidents in this country, 1 president is enough, isn't it? So if there were 2, then what will happen? Or if there were 10 presidents, what will happen? Now there can be many ministers, there can be many governors, not a problem, right? There can be many cabinet ministers, not a problem. There can be many mayors. I don't know how many mayors are there in America. Must be thousands, right? There are so many cities. Just around us, there's a mayor for Cyprus, there's a mayor for Sugarland, mayor for Houston, mayor. So many mayors are there. But president has to be one. And nobody can override the president because his power is derived from, of course, here we'll say from the constitution, but in one sense, he is the one who is empowering everyone else. So if you go to many federal offices, his picture will be there, but not the picture of anyone else. So similarly, Krishna is the supreme. He is. Now when we can say, well, what does that mean? That he is the source. So the meaning of source is that whatever is we see in this world, it should be in the source, right? So whatever we see, I cannot create something that has more things than what I have. But today in the world of AI, they are saying it is becoming more intelligent. But at the same time, I still have the power to overpower it. I cannot create because ultimately it was created based on how I think. So I cannot create something which has some qualities that I don't have, right? Because I don't even know those qualities, what it would be. So I cannot only create things that are 3-dimensional. Samajh rahe hain? I can only create things which have length, breadth and height. Because I have only those 3 dimensions. I cannot create something which has more dimensions than that. So the source should have all the dimensions, should have all the attributes which in the Vedic language is called rasa. So rasa. So there are 5 main rasas and 7 secondary rasas. So that is total of 12 rasas. So Krishna is the reservoir of all rasas. That's why he's called Akhil Rasamrit Sindhu. He's the ocean of all the different rasas. And a very beautiful example is given. Here in the center, Krishna is like the full moon. This is the full moon. And moon has different phases. And in each phase, we see something less of the moon. Right? So on the Chaturdashi, Trayodashi, different days, one part of the moon is visible less. But that does not mean that the moon has changed, right? It does not mean that it's a different moon. The moon on Ekadashi, is it different than the moon on Purnima? No. If someone says, no, I only believe in the Ekadashi moon, I don't believe in the moon that is on Chaturdashi. Now, is that a very good argument? What would you call such a person? Agya. So Rahul, what would you call such a person? Someone says, I believe in the moon which is on the 11th day, but I don't believe in the moon which is on the 14th day, and I think they're different moons. What would you call such a person? Very good. You'll call such a person ignorant. So when we say these are different gods, then what are we saying? We are being ignorant. And how would you prove that to that person that all these moons are the same? How would you prove to that person that all these moons are the same? Anybody can prove that all these moons are the same. Who can prove? Many engineers, PhDs here in this room. A child comes and says, Dad, I see a different moon every day. They're all different. And you say, no, better, they are all the same moon. How would you prove to the child it's all the same moon? Download an app. Well, one thing you can do is you can make a circle, right? You can make a circle and then chop off one portion and then say this is, see, now you see the 14th day moon, chop off another portion and then put them all together and then see, the same moon is there. So it was the same moon, same location, but and now you can make a model. You can say, this is the moon, earth is in between and this is the sun, right? So based on the sun, the earth coming in between the moon and the earth, there's a reflection of the moon that falls on, reflection of the earth that falls on the moon. That is the reason. Sabko physics yaad hai? That's why you see all these different phases. This is a basic thing that they teach the children in the school. Right? This is a problem we need. Give exam and then for it. Right? So the earth comes in between and the shadow of the earth falls, right? So that's why you see different phases of the moon. So, similarly, Krishna, only that Supreme who is the ocean of all rasas, when he manifests himself with some less rasas, some less qualities, he only is called by different names. He only is called Kurma, he is only called Nrsimha, he is only called Ram, he is only called Varaha, all of these. But when all these qualities are there in one individual, that person is called Krishna. Right? So many times we explain here that Lord Ram has all the qualities, but one quality is a little bit less. What of Madhurya? Just like in Lord Ram, he has three brothers. Who are they? Three brothers? Lakshman, Bharat and Shatrughan. And let's say it is time for them to have their food, prasad. And Lord Ram is sitting and eating. What would be Bharat and Lakshman and Shatrughan doing at that time? Aap sabne Ramayana dekhiye. So when Lord Ram is eating, let's say one plate comes, what will they all do? They will serve. They will serve. One of them will, you see the picture, right? They're both sitting and one of them is doing the chamber, one is massaging the feet. So someone will be doing the chambers, they will be doing different services. Nobody will come and say, Bharat will not come, oh, I am very hungry, you eat afterwards. And just starts eating from his plate. Have you ever heard this? They will never do this. Never, ever. But now go to Krishna Leela and Madhu Mangal comes and he sees laddus which Mother Yashoda may have made for Krishna and he comes and snatches them away. That I am very hungry, starts eating all of those laddus and then they have a fight. So in Krishna Leela, the Madhurya is there. There is so much love and affection that this mood that he is God is forgotten. So this is one quality of the Lord. Immense love that you just become like he is your friend. This is only there in Krishna. So therefore he is called the reservoir of all rasas. So everyone with me? Okay. So therefore this main chapter, what this was describing, that Krishna is the reservoir of all, he is the source of all the various incarnations. So after describing all of this, then I will just touch the last few verses to complete this chapter. So then he says, Sarva idam vishwam amogh leela strijati avati adina sanjate asmin bhuteshu cha antarhit atma tantrah shat vargikah jigrati shat guneshah. So, can you read the translation?
The Lord, whose activities are always spotless, is the master of the six senses and is fully omnipotent with six opulences. He creates the manifested universes, maintains them and annihilates them without being the least affected. He is within every living being and is always independent.
So saying the Supreme Lord, He is doing such immense creation, but at the same time, He is not affected by any of this. So His energy, His Maya, which is keeping everyone else bound, does not affect the Supreme Lord Himself. That's why Krishna says that someone who comes and takes my shelter can overcome the attraction of Maya, the power of Maya. Otherwise, it's not possible. So He is within every living being, but He is still supremely independent. Nobody can control Him. And then He says, after that, that only those who render unreserved, uninterrupted, favorable service unto the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, who carries the wheel of the chariot in his hand, can know the Creator of the universe in His full glory, power and transcendence. Actually, the verse before, I have the wrong translation, but just read the verse. The verse there says, Nachasya kaschit nipunena dhatu avaiti jantu kumanishaha utihi. He says that one cannot, those who do not believe in the Supreme Lord, those who are not surrendered unto Him, they cannot understand Him. It is very difficult. It is mind-boggling. Right? It is very mind-boggling to understand who the Supreme Lord is. It's impossible. Very impossible. But He says, yes, you can still understand those who are engaged in rendering loving devotional service. Render unreserved, uninterrupted, favorable service. So the process of bhakti is that the Lord reveals Himself. We cannot know Him by our own power because we have very limited senses. But when He sees someone making an effort, when He sees someone very honestly and purely trying to execute devotional service, then His Kripa Shakti flows. Then out of His mercy, He reveals Himself in the heart of such a pure devotee. So only such devotees can know who the Creator of the universe is in His full glory, power and transcendence. And those devotees who start understanding the Supreme Lord, you will experience in your own life that as you make progress in bhakti, so making progress in bhakti means what? The darkness of ignorance starts going away. Why do we feel so much disturbance in our life? It's because right now we are in immense darkness. Just like if it was like late in the night, the lights go out, then you can't find anything in your house. Right? It becomes very difficult to find anything. And it's a very uncomfortable situation, right? We don't realize it when the lights are on, but when the light goes away, then you understand how difficult it is. So, but when the light comes back, then you are able to see everything. And it is a better situation, right? To be in darkness or in light. To be in light. So similarly, when the light of transcendental knowledge, it manifests, it arises within our heart, and slowly the mind, that living entity becomes very happy and blissful. So this is what Srimad Bhagavatam is about. So therefore He says towards the end of this chapter, Idam Bhagavatam Nam Purana Brahm Samhitam Uttam Shlok Charitam Chakara Bhagavan Rishi. He says this Srimad Bhagavatam is the literary incarnation of God, meaning that Bhagavatam is non-different from Krishna Himself. So if one is reading Srimad Bhagavatam, it is as good as being in association of the Lord. And it is compiled by Srila Vyasadeva, the incarnation of God. So He Himself wrote this. It is meant for the ultimate good of all people. Nihi Shresaya Lokasya. So Nihi Shresaya means the ultimate benefit. So what is the ultimate benefit of us? What is the ultimate benefit? Krishna Prem. Isn't it better that we have good food? Or we all have nice houses, nice cars? Isn't that the ultimate benefit? No? Why? Yeah, it doesn't give you, it does not give you ultimate happiness, right? Even those who have all of it, still there is misery in this world. And all of these things will come to an end. Right? All of these will come to an end. So the ultimate good is if we become Krishna conscious. If we understand what is the real purpose of life. So yesterday also in a class we were discussing, isn't it so amazing that we see our face in the mirror every single day, but we don't know who I am, right? We see our face every day, but we don't even know who I am, because that who I am leaves this body, but we haven't come to know who I am. So if we come to know who I am, that is the ultimate benefit. Just like for a child who is lost, who is separated from his parents, you can give him anything, but he will be the happiest when he is reunited with his parents and he knows, oh, I am so and so, I am the son of so and so. So therefore it says, so this Srimad Bhagavatam was delivered, first Shukdev Goswami was given this Bhagavatam by Sri Vedavyas, and then Shukdev Goswami narrated this to Maharaj Parikshit. And then finally, it says in this chapter, Krishna swadham upakate dharma jnanadi saha kalau nashta drisham esha puran arkah adhunoditaha. That this Bhagavad Puran is as brilliant as the sun, and it has arisen just after the departure of Lord Krishna to his own abode, accompanied by religion, knowledge, etc. Persons who have lost their vision due to the dense darkness of ignorance in the age of Kali shall get light from this Puran. So, Bhagavad, just like Krishna, Surya Sam, Maya hai andhakar, jahan Krishna taha nahi, Maya adhikar. So, Krishna is like the brilliant sun. And wherever Krishna is, there is no darkness. So, similarly, because Bhagavatam is not different from Krishna, if you sincerely read Bhagavatam, and if you sincerely hear Srimad Bhagavatam, this is guaranteed that all the darkness of ignorance, and because of that ignorance, all the miseries that we face in our life will go away. 100% money back guarantee. So, whatever time we have in our life, we should make an effort to read Srimad Bhagavatam. It is a big scripture, but if you read it, you will find it is so beautiful, so much nice. Not only just stories. Many times we think, oh, there are just some stories in Bhagavatam. No, there is so much beautiful Siddhanta, so much beautiful teachings for us. And the biggest teaching is that chants the name of Hari. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Gaur Premanande, Hare Hare.
Thank you, class. And these pictures help you understand, help us understand how the world